General Motors has way too many crossovers. Is GM doing a lot of things right? Absolutely. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. We're going to talk about this a bit. We're going to concentrate on the crossovers themselves and why GM could afford to get rid of a lot of them and streamline their operation. Stick with me, and I'll be right back. Welcome back to Beyond the Lens Productions. Today, we're going to focus on General Motors. We focused on Stellantis a lot lately, so I wanted to switch gears a little bit and talk about GM. GM has been in the news a lot lately for doing a lot of things right. Arguably, they have been. They have, diversified their lineup a lot more than Stellantis did. They're offering people the electric cars, the gas powered cars, the SUVs, the trucks, offering the V8 engine, the trucks that people want. But one thing bugs me about them is the fact that they have way too many crossovers. And even in the Chevrolet lineup alone, they have way too many. So we're going to go through each one and give you my take on. Let you know what ones I think they should get rid of. I welcome you guys to comment below and tell me, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I mean, I'm undoubtedly gonna, talk about some crossover that you love and you don't want to see them get rid of, but these are only my opinions. So let's start with Chevrolet. Now, the Chevrolet lineup here is their SUVs. Okay, you now have 9 different SUVs, crossovers. Arguably, the lines have come very blurred with crossovers. And to me, a few of these crossovers, namely the Trax and the Trailblazer, in my opinion, are just kind of glorified hatchbacks that just sit a little bit higher than what a car would. So, anyhow, let's start at the bottom. We'll start with the Trax and the Trailblazer. Okay, you look at these two, they are very similar with very few differences between them. You don't need two entry level crossovers. You could easily take these and combine them into one. Which one? I don't know. That's up for debate, I guess, depending on what styling you like. But I mean, you could combine the styling of the two of them and put them together into one very easily. There we go. Get rid of one right there. Uh, Combine the engine options, etc. Okay, let's move into the Equinox and the Blazer. Okay, Blazer's a little higher end. It's got a few more bells and whistles. Equinox is more of an entry level vehicle, but you could put a higher end version of the Equinox that could easily fill the spot where this Blazer is. Now, you could do it the other way around too. You could take the Blazer and kind of make a more affordable version of it as well, which would be easily enough done. Now, Blazer brand name itself has been around longer than the Equinox one, but the Equinox one has been around for a long time too. Since 2005, as a matter of fact. I actually had one of the original ones in 2005 myself. It was a great vehicle, but I don't know. I would say as of late, the Equinox has a much better brand recognition. Blazer's been around a little longer, but then again, they were on that brand was on hiatus for a while too. So personally, I would go with the Equinox on this one. Get rid of the Blazer. I'm not gonna talk about the EVs here. I mean, EVs, that's something you can just do in a whole other topic on its own. Now, the Traverse, the Tahoe, Suburban. Okay, so the Traverse, I think, actually, honestly, this generation of the Traverse is the best generation they've put out yet, in my opinion, anyhow. Now, the Tahoe and Suburban. Yeah, both names have been around for a long time. You try to combine them, you might hurt the sales on them because, people have become just familiar with those brands. I mean, the Suburban is just basically an extended version of the Tahoe. I would personally say not to get rid of the Suburban nameplate because the Suburban nameplate is the oldest nameplate in the GM lineup. Been around for decades, so I definitely wouldn't want to get rid of that. But then the Tahoe's got quite a following too, so I mean, you could leave these ones alone. But there's definitely two vehicles right here. Boom. Either Equinox or Blazer, Trax or Trailblazer. Get rid of them. Get rid of one from each of those two. All right, so let's go. Now, the truck lineup, they got the midsize, they got the light duty, the heavy duty. Not much can be said there. I think they're fine with those. Like, I don't know, you could say that, GMC lineup, there's some overlap there as well. So you could say you could get rid of one of those, but I don't know. Let's look at the GMC lineup itself. GMC. Boom. Okay. Now we will. There's a lot less vehicles in the GMC lineup. I mean, arguably the Terrain and the Acadia, Yukon, they're all basically carryovers from Chevrolet. Now, you probably, in theory, could get rid of the GMC lineup entirely and put them all under the Chevrolet brand. However, I will say that General Motors has done a much better job recently, over the last probably 10-ish years, maybe a little less, of differentiating the Chevrolet and the GMC brand lineup. Because before this, there was such little difference. Basically, we'll take the Sierra and the Silverado. You basically slap a different grill on there, some different logos inside the vehicle, and presto, you had a GMC. Now, I would argue that the GMC lineup is a higher end version of the Chevrolet. And they've got even the Sierra. We'll take the Sierra for instance here. It has a big following, and I've spent a lot of time on a truck forum with a lot of gearheads there, like myself, and there's a lot of people. They're very adamant. They love their GMC or they love their Chevrolet. So to get rid of a Sierra or the Silverado, I don't think it would be a good marketing idea. The only thing that I could see would be an advantage is they could claim the spot most years for top selling pickup truck in America. Because in theory, GM most years has sold more trucks than Ford, but they split their numbers between two different brands, so they can't claim that. I don't know. But is it worth that? I don't think it's really worth it to just win that, battle. So, and in the GMC lineup, you also, if you really want the high end, you've got the Denali line. Have some absolutely beautiful trucks in there. The Sierra HD Denali, like, it's gorgeous truck. I mean, man, if I had the money, I'd be buying one of those. So they got the all-terrain line. So I can't really see a lot, to be honest, here that you could do with the GMC lineup. I'd be kind of tempted to get rid of, just leave that one alone. Now, I just kind of leave that one as is myself. I don't see anything reason to change that at all. So let's look at the Buick lineup. I'll be honest, it's not a heck of a lot there anymore. Boom. Okay. So here we have the Buick lineup. All right. I'm seeing a lot of overlapping here. I can see why this lineup really isn't selling in North America. I mean, in other areas in the world, it does fantastic. In other areas of the world, they even have cars. As you can see, there isn't a single car in the Buick lineup anymore, which is kind of a damn shame because they had, I was very close to actually buying one until they discontinued it. They had around 2019 era, they had the Buick Regal Grand Sport. So this was the, late 2010s, 2019 to be exact, Buick Regal. This was a beautiful car. It's a shame they got rid of this, but anyhow, they did. It's based on Opel platform. Came with Recaro seats in there. If you're familiar, anybody's familiar with those, they're racing seats, very comfortable, hold you really well when you're going around corners and that. But it's a shame Buick doesn't have any exciting cars in their lineup like this, even just one. But anyhow, I digress. We'll go back to what they have. Okay, first of all, I'm going to look at this Invista and Encore. Why do we have two of these? They look damn well almost the same. You could get rid of one of these easily. I'm not overly familiar with the specs on these, but you could just take one of them, put all the options from both into one, make a higher end version for the more expensive one if you wanted to replace the Encore. Boom, done. And Viz, you could have just three of these SUVs. And now they still have the Avenir lineup, which is kind of their high end, more luxury one. I don't even know. Their sport versions. You have a bunch of crossovers here. I don't know. I don't know how much of this you really need. You need a whole two other lineups for that. I would I would get rid of the other two lineups and just put different levels of each vehicle in there. Give yourself the regular version, a slightly sportier one, and a higher end one. You don't need three separate lines for that. So anyhow, that's what I would do with the Buick line. Now we're going to go over to Cadillac. We will start with the Cadillac sedans. Not a lot here. There's just basically two sedans in different trims. You've got the CT4, the CT4V, and the CT4V Blackwing. And you basically got the same in the CT5. Three different versions of the same vehicle, each one getting progressively higher in performance and luxury and whatnot. I don't see a lot you can change it. I think they're fine here, to be quite honest. I would believe there'd be a cars alone. It's basically two cars anyhow, so I don't see any way you could trim that. Now, if you move over here into the SUVs, not bad. Like XT4, XT5, XT6. Do you really need to have an XT6, a whole other version here? I don't think you really do. I think you could get rid of the XT6. If it's a matter of space, just make an extended version of the XT5. Escalade V Series, ESV, the extended version. Yeah, I think you're fine here too. So I think where they really personally need to trim the fat is in the Chevrolet lineup and the Buick lineup. There's arguments, some people may argue you could get rid of the Buick line entirely. They have a lot of dealer commitments there. That would be very difficult to do, but they could trim it. They could trim it, throw a car in there, like the Regal, I guess, if you would like. And that's what I would do with the crossovers themselves. I mean, there's other areas in the company here I could speak to too, but this video is long enough already, in my opinion, for just covering the crossovers. And you trim the crossover lineup. Less choice, easier to make a decision on what you want to buy, less marketing dollars. You could research and development, you could just focus in on less vehicles, put more money into less vehicles in your research and development. Take those dollars you've been spending now, put them into less vehicles. You're going to have even better quality vehicles. That's my argument for that. I'd love to know what you guys think. Leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think. Did I miss something? Do you disagree with something? I'd like to see what you guys think. So anyhow, let me know, and I will catch you guys in the next video.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make